Good morning. It's just about sunrise on Friday morning, the 9th of October. Sorry that this weekly update's just a little bit late. I had meetings till about 9 o'clock last night again, so apologize for the delay. There's not a whole lot of changes going on during the week. We still have many things to look forward to. We're certainly blessed that our school continues to go well and children are thriving. It's nice to have them back, and we're also doing simultaneous e-learning as well. And faith formation programs, which are going to be virtually done this year online with family faith formation, have started up, and we'll be doing. We had a meet and greet last weekend, and we will be doing a lot of video type things and Zoom meetings for those families. So that's underway. This Saturday, we'll be celebrating the sacraments of initiation, bringing those folks into the church, confirmation, communion, and first communion and full communion into the church. That should have happened at the Easter Vigil, which didn't happen. So please keep Bernice Javier and Angelito Javier and Brian Johnson in your prayers, and welcome them to the church this Saturday evening. Next Sunday afternoon, we'll be celebrating the rite of enrollment for our 30 families, 30 children who will be receiving or preparing to receive the sacrament of confirmation in the spring. We don't know what that sacrament's going to look like right now because of the bishop's schedule and the limits of the number of people we can have in the church, but we've got lots of time to figure that out. So things are continuing on well in that regard. Faith formation and school and religious education is going well. People seem to like the new carpeting in the church. We're replacing all the smoke detectors as well. They're fairly old, and we want to make sure that they work properly. We did have a malfunction about 8 months ago with one of them, and so we think it's time to clean them and replace them all as well. So that's going well. The church is looking good. We could always use more volunteers, but as the infection rates and the status quo of the COVID epidemic is still keeping many people home, and understandably so, it's difficult to come out. Their attendance has not gone up, and so we're still, again, as I said, going to stay the course with just the two masses. The normal mass is 5 o'clock on Saturday and 10 a.m. on Sunday. We're still doing weddings and baptisms, of course, and we're going to resume the communal anointing of the sick on the first Saturday of the month. So that will be coming up November 7th. And so that will follow the morning mass. We'll only have the Saturday morning mass at 8:30 that first Saturday of the month to be followed by the anointing of the sick. Otherwise, our regular schedule of Monday and Wednesday will continue. And so you do have to register for that as well, and the sacrament will look slightly different because of the social distancing rules, but it will be the communal anointing of the sick, which is a good thing. We also resumed this past Wednesday, opening the church for prayer on Wednesday. So the church is open from 9 to 1 on Wednesdays. And on the third Wednesday of the month, we'll have the Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament and benediction at 1 o'clock. So you will need to sign up for the Mass in the morning if you come, but if you come for prayer or you come for the benediction, you won't be required to sign up and pre-register, but you will have to sign in with your name and phone number, wear a mask, and of course use hand sanitizer. They'll be on the table there for the private prayer. Space yourself out in church, of course, and there will be volunteers present to assist you. So if anybody would like to come and pray during the day, that would be great. And if you'd like to volunteer to help us with that, that would also be wonderful. The more volunteers, of course, that we have, the easier it is. The burden is lighter on everyone, and we can continue to provide and perhaps increase our celebrations. So that's the sacrament side of things. Renew My Church continues. We will be meeting this Tuesday for the final time as the large group of the 4 parishes to finalize our discernment and feedback report to go to Bishop Manns and the Renew My Church Executive Committee. We've been working on that, getting feedback the last few weeks. And so at this point, we are still open to any kind of suggestions we may not have considered, but we've tried to take every feedback that we've gotten and bring it back to the larger group. So that's going fairly well. And of course, we will make our presentation to the bishop and the committee, executive committee, on the 20th. And sometime after that, the cardinal will make a decision. It has to be ratified by the presbyteral council, which is the council of priests that advise the cardinal. And that will take place in early November. And then we'll be appraised. We have a meeting in early November for the pastors to talk about the whole process and what will happen next. and then at some point we'll get a date for the announcement from the Cardinal, which will be obviously given to us by Bishop Manns, and that detail has to be worked out, but sometime mid-November is the probability. We're also looking forward to Christmas and Advent. Because of COVID, of course, our services will be a little different. We can only have the 20% capacity, which is 130. We only sign up 120 just because there's always a couple people who walk in, which will take their information, but better to register so nobody gets turned away. So we still have to determine when those services will take place and how we're going to do them. We're working on getting live streaming. We hope to be able to have that in the church so that we can have people in the church and in the hall watching the Mass on the screens down there and hearing that, and then have communion ministers bring communion downstairs. So that would mean we could accommodate more people and obviously then fewer Masses. So we're still working on that. We're supposed to get the guidelines. They've been delayed. They now will be coming out the week of the 19th, so we won't know that from downtown for a couple more weeks, which makes it harder to plan hiring musicians and so forth, but we do the best we can with what we've got. So all these things behind the scenes continue to go forward. Collections are still a little bit down, understandably, because people are not coming to church and we can only accommodate a limited number. So I am very grateful for everybody who continues to support the church in this difficult time, support the parish, and as always, if you can afford a little bit more, please be generous, because with the difficulties out there and the unemployment uncertainty, many of our regular contributors are obviously giving less because they have no choice. And so we want to honor everybody's position and help that. In the larger culture, we obviously had recently the threats against the mayor's life, which are always unacceptable, and it's clearly something that is further polarizing our society. And with a major election coming up less than a month away now, and it's very important that we all pray and discern, as I said last week, in terms of what our values are and what candidates represent what we think would be best for the greater community. And not just the presidential election, we also have Congress people and senators, and we have local elections that are very important to consider for the common good. And so please do vote, and please pray carefully about who your selections will be, as we all will be. And the bishops will be putting out shortly their every 4 years they put out a guideline to help us discern the principles in the election. And of course, we don't endorse any candidates or oppose particular candidates. We just try to uphold values and positions of moral issues that affect the country. Obviously, also please continue to pray for all of our personnel, the first responders, our police, fire, paramedics, all our hospital personnel that continue to protect us and work to keep us safe and healthy, and certainly for all of those essential workers that many of them put their lives at risk as well so that our lives can continue. Grocery store workers, train conductors, things of that nature, all those day-to-day jobs we sometimes take for granted that do also put themselves at some risk by exposure to the public, and many are struggling because they make a choice between having to go to work because they can't work at home, and then having children at home to be homeschooled or e-learned, and so those are difficult trade-offs for many people. So keep all those folks in your prayers, and certainly if we're not in that situation and we can telecommute, so to speak, or we can work from home and we don't have those difficulties or challenges, simply remember to be grateful and remember those who are in need. So thanks for all your continued support. I will try to get this update again for you on Thursday next week. Hopefully that'll work out. And in the meantime, this weekend we will be taping the Saturday night Mass, and that will be available. It will be a little bit longer Mass because of the rites of initiation. Clearly not as long as the Easter Vigil, but probably about an extra 15 minutes. So I've been tasked to preach much more shortly, and you know how difficult that is for me, but I will do my best. So God bless you all, and I hope to see you this weekend, and we'll stay in touch next week. Pray for one another, and please be safe and healthy. God bless.